I'm here reporting from Capitol Hill on November 12th, 2024. Let's hear what they have to say, okay? And hey, Marty Getler, if you're out there, happy Veterans Day to you too. I have a friend who served in the Vietnam War. He worked with the war dogs in Vietnam. And I'm not for war, but he was. And I helped him publish his book. If you look on Amazon.com, it's called What Am I Doing Here by Marty Getler, or Martin Getler. And talks about his time at Fort Myers, also as a horseshoe man at Quantico. He was the only Army man at Quantico. And he had to hold off hippies from Fort Myers at the gate. And he used to put his helmet under his, he used to sit on his helmet in helicopters in Vietnam to keep his nuts and his cock from getting blown off. And it's a shame that people have to do that, but he worked with all the war dogs. And on the cover of his book is him holding an eagle on his arm with no mask on the eagle and no leather glove, and he's just looking at you. That cover's hanging in his musty, dusty farmhouse in Caroline County, just south of Fredericksburg, where, guess what? He burns his fence post for firewood, or at least he was when I was helping him at the Goodwill Job Help Center years ago. And when I asked my boss, who was the vice president and chief mission operator for Rappahannock Goodwill Industries, if she would ask her husband Danny, who's a retired Marine, to buy this retired veteran and man who's burning his fence posts and putting wire up to keep his horse in rather than wooden fence, she told me a week later that Danny said no, they would not buy him a cord of firewood. A cord of firewood at that time cost $125 at the most. And so when Rappahannock Goodwill Industries fired me 13 years into my job, and I had trained all their disability staff, and they had disability staff happy when the election came around, and the former president who just got elected, who's a vice president, who's a convicted rapist, and the vice president probably didn't get elected because she's a woman and because she's not, you can just keep it as because she's a woman. And I don't think 52% of the electorate is a rapist, but they're either scared by rapists in their communities because the United States government has laws that permit rapists to be released, guess what, from prison all the time, as well as murderers, as well as people who buy and sell other human beings. And the United States of America, if you do these crimes, you will be released. If you abduct a child, keep that child and hold them forever, you will be released. So you can keep a child and rape that child for a week or a month or whatever. You go to prison, you're going to be released. I've helped people get jobs because it was my job post-release. They were not allowed to use the computer in the job center that I ran. And their parole officers would make sure it was okay for me to help them. One man was in prison for 12 years because he abducted a young boy and held him and abducted him and sodomized him for a week in a hotel room. He did that at the age of 18 to a 10-year-old. I don't care if it was done to him when he was a child by his uncle. He can't walk free. Yet I was helping him get a job. You know where he got a job? The same county that he did that in, King George County. Guess what he got a job as? The person at the window at Burger King, when you get your shit, your Whopper, he serves it to you. What if that kid comes home from college, goes to that Burger King, and I got him this job in 2018. What if he's still working there? What if that kid just got home from college, he'd probably be 25 now or whatever, and he's married and has a child in the car, and that dude serves him his Whopper at Burger King out the drive-thru window. And what if he had done that to other kids, but that's only the one he got caught for? That's the United States of America. So, what I was getting at is, though, I used to help people get work for a living. And if we're constantly releasing monsters into the community, no wonder the police are for the police. If we're constantly letting doctors be monsters in the community and put children and elders and veterans on drugs that are considered party drugs and put some people in jail or prison for those drugs, yet doctors give them to all these populations as medication, maybe we should start looking at who the real criminals are and who the real evil people are. You tell me why you can go out and murder somebody and get out of prison within 5 years in the United States, how you can rape and get elected as president, how you can abduct children and sodomize them, get caught and be released from prison. People go back to the same communities they're from. So when you go to the polls and a known rapist or murderer stands there staring at you, making sure you voted, and the American psychiatric and medical industry forces us not to say out loud that we all have a third ear, ESP, like a third eye, like clairvoyance, telekinesis, whatever, ESP, magic. People can talk without speaking. So they make sure everyone is scared and votes no matter what. And communities live in fear in the United States of America because of these laws and because of the Supreme Court right there. And we're so privileged to live in a nation that permits murderers and rapists and pedophiles who abduct children and people who buy and sell other human beings. We are so privileged to live in this nation called the United States of America that in addition to living in fear in every community where the police do not care or help us, because I was almost murdered on December 30th, about a 15-minute bus ride from here. I can walk there in 45 minutes. Nothing has been done, and the people who've done it walk free, and everybody knows. So I'm privileged to owe, as an American citizen, $106,000 to Congress. And so I know that we have the systems in place to heal this country and to feel what's going on. But if people don't actually start going in here and saying, do this please, because our children and our seniors are suffering, and people are going to war, and then finding out the president's lied about the details of the war, where the most elite soldiers are basically crying on podcasts because they're lied to, and they watch their friends be murdered, and then they realize they were out murdering, and then they realize some of the people were raping, and like, well, happy Veterans Day. I'm gonna say 5 words: South Africa, Soweto, Israel, Gaza.
back, pushed into a police car and thrown off.